A notary public is asked to execute an acknowledgement for the execution of a will. What should the notary public do? Well, let's have a look at the Rules of Professional Conduct from the Notary Public License Law booklet. And this is an excerpt from there in which it states, a notary public is cautioned not to execute an acknowledgement of the execution of a will. Such acknowledgement cannot be deemed equivalent to an attestation clause accompanying a will. So with that in mind, let's have a look at our four choices to determine the solution. Choice A states, execute the acknowledgement since it's part of the notary's duties. This is incorrect, as I just read from the law before, and therefore choice A is not the correct solution. Choice B states, refuse and explain that an acknowledgement cannot be deemed equivalent to an attestation clause accompanying a will. Well, that aligns with what I just read from before, but before we mark it as a correct solution and to be in the habit of looking at all four choices, let's have a look at choices C and D. Choice C states, execute the acknowledgement, but also add an attestation clause. Well, this is incorrect because adding an attestation clause is actually a function of an attorney, not a notary public. Only a notary public who's also an attorney can provide legal services. The question does not state that the notary public is an attorney in this instance. Therefore, we go to the fallback that the notary public in the question involved is not an attorney and therefore cannot be providing any sort of legal services. And therefore, choice C is not the correct solution. And finally, choice D states, ask the person to find a lawyer to execute the acknowledgement. Now, generally speaking, it is often recommendable for a notary public to suggest to somebody who may be uncertain of something or maybe needs some sort of legal services accompanying the notarization to speak to an attorney. But in this instance, the issue is with the acknowledgement itself. An acknowledgement, as the law states, is not the equivalent of an attestation clause accompanying a will. So whether or not the person goes to an attorney, the acknowledgement would not solve the issue in this instance. So therefore, choice D is not the correct solution either, which indeed leaves choice B, refuse and explain that an acknowledgement cannot be deemed equivalent to an attestation clause accompanying a will, as the correct solution.